Welcome to Whores Talk Horror.
We're not really whores. We just like wordplay.
Hello, welcome to Whores Talk Horror. I'm Sharon.
I'm Melinda.
And today we are going to be, this is going to be part one of our two-part episode of horror movies coming out in 2020. This is not an all-inclusive list, but we have compiled a list of a bunch of movies, and we're just gonna start talking about them.
Yeah, and no particular order in terms of what our preference. We're just gonna dive right in.
All right, so the first movie is actually already released. It is The Grudge. It was released on January 3rd, and from what I've been hearing, it really has not been getting great reviews.
I actually didn't even know it was out yet. I'll hold my tongue for a bit longer and let you talk some more, Sharon.
So, the plot of this new Grudge movie: after a young mother murders her family in her own house, a single mother and a young detective try to investigate and solve the case. Later, she discovers the house is cursed by a vengeful ghost that dooms those who enter it with a violent death. Now she runs to save herself and her son from demonic spirits from the cursed house in her neighborhood.
The house that's holding a grudge against her. Sorry.
Good one.
I've not had much coffee. I had to.
So this will actually be the first American Grudge film not to have any involvement with Takashi Shimizu.
Yeah, maybe.
Is that?
Sure. I think so.
I think that's correct.
I
Sorry.
know his name by sight. I don't know how to say it. So.
Well, if I mispronounce it, I apologize. But he directed the original four Ju-on films and also the two American remakes. Although he did not direct The Grudge 3 from 2009, he did remain as a producer on that film. So the original plan was to reboot the series completely, featuring a new storyline that abandons the Saki family. Did I say that right, Mindy?
I think so.
Sure. And however, it was confirmed in an interview with Nicholas Pesh that the film takes place during the events of The Grudge, the 2004 Grudge, and also the Grudge 2 from 2006. So this is I guess they're saying this is like an overlying story. It's taking place at the same time. I'm not sure if there's any relationship between this movie.
People got a lot of grudges.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Too many grudges, I think. I'm not sure why they had to do yet another Grudge movie.
Oh my God.
But Nicholas Pesh, who actually wrote and directed the movie Piercing, which we discussed in our part 2 episode of the 2019 horror movies, he said that he took inspiration from The Exorcist and also The Changeling, which are two of my all-time favorite horror films. So I mean, I don't know how much inspiration he took from those movies. Because based on the reviews that I've read so far, this movie is just really, really bad. But whatever, I'll watch it for myself eventually and make my own. I'll form my own opinions
there you go.
On it. And it's also produced by Sam Raimi, who's awesome. So
I didn't know. That's interesting that Sam Raimi is producing because, anyway, I personally. Sharon kind of already said this. I actually really like Japanese horror and Korean horror films, and I own Ju-on. And I actually thought the other two the remakes, the American ones with Sarah Michelle Gellar, were actually not that bad. So we saw this trailer in the theater before Black Christmas, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And Spencer's going, "Be quiet." Luckily, Sharon was in the bathroom, so she didn't hear me. But yeah, they changed it from the father killing to the mother, it sounds like, but do we really need another? Whatever. I'm just done. I will say, though, that the director made the movie The Eyes of My Mother. I think you can watch it on Shudder and Netflix, and it's an interesting one. So I find this remake curious, but I'm annoyed. I'll still watch it, probably with Sharon.
Oh, Nicholas Pesh made The Eyes of My Mother?
Yeah, it's an interesting movie.
Okay. I did do a bit of reading about that movie when I was researching Piercing, and I think that one had slightly better reviews than Piercing, so I might check that out.
I think you should, actually.
The one thing I will say about this new Grudge movie is it does have Lynn Shay,
True.
who we both love, and
Yes.
it also has Betty Gilpin from Glow, and I do have a huge girl crush on her.
She's pretty awesome.
But yeah, so I'll see it because we're gonna have to review all the horror movies from 2020 so we can do our end of the year episode. But this might possibly be on the bottom of my list.
We technically don't have to review it for the end of the year, but you know that we're going to want to bitch about it. So I'm going to wait for video, as us old people say.
Well, we also have to warn everyone to not see it. Sometimes you have to take one for the team. So
True. And you did that for me this year, so I might have to return the favor. But
all right.
we'll figure that out later. That's another discussion.
So Mindy, your turn. What do you got for us?
Okay, so the first movie I'm going to talk about is called Underwater. The U.S. release date was yesterday, for us, January 10th, because we are in the future, or in the past as you're listening to this. So the plot is a crew of aquatic researchers work to get to safety after an earthquake devastates their subterranean laboratory. But the crew is more than the ocean seabed to fear. Kristen Stewart apparently shaved her head for the role, so hopefully it was worth it. I personally thought that the tagline for this should be a nautical action horror flick starring Kristen Stewart and T.J. Miller. Because I know I've seen this movie before, actually twice, but before it was called The Abyss and Leviathan. Like, I don't know why we keep making these movies about underwater creatures, but I've heard somewhat interesting things about this. And Kristen Stewart, outside of Twilight, I guess, is not a bad actress. So I might see it, but I'll probably wait for streaming. Mm-hmm. But that's out January 10th in the States. So there you go. You can go see it if you want to.
Underwater horror movies are not really my thing, but
yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean,
we'll watch it when it's...
I have a pretty good idea what's probably going to happen.
When it's free.
Whatever. Anyway, what do you got for us next, Sharon?
All right, so the next movie I have is The Turning, which comes out January 24th. It's based on the 1898 novella, The Turn of the Screw by Henry James. The Turning is more of a modern take on the story, and it's actually set in the 90s, though. It's directed by a female director, and there's actually a lot of female directors on this list, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
Her name is Floria Sigismondi.
Sure.
She directed Marilyn Manson's The Beautiful People video, and also the movie The Runaways, which I have not seen, the movie which Kristen Stewart plays Joan Jett.
We've got a Kristen Stewart theme going, apparently.
So it's about a young governess who is hired by a man who has become responsible for his young niece and nephew after the deaths of their parents. The kids are creepy and know dark secrets about the house. The two young children, who are played by Brooklyn Prince from the movie The Florida Project, which I have not seen, and I really, really want to see that movie because I heard it's amazing.
Same.
And also Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things and also the new It movies. The movie takes inspiration from the 1961 movie The Innocents, which Spencer and I actually just watched for the first time. And it was also based on the novella The Turn of the Screw, which I previously mentioned. And although much of the screenplay for The Innocents was not actually derived from Henry James' novella, but from William Archibald's 1950 Broadway adaptation, also titled The Innocents, William Archibald and Truman Capote used much of Archibald's own stage play to write the screenplay for that 1961 film. And here's a little bit of trivia from IMDb. This is one of two adaptations of Henry James's novella, The Turn of the Screw, that will be released in 2020. The other, Mindy, you're going to be excited for this.
I actually have heard about this.
Is the second season of Netflix's The Haunting of Hill House by Mike Flanagan, who is now becoming one of our favorite directors.
Yep.
And it'll be called The Haunting of Bly Manor. So both adaptations are produced by Amblin Entertainment. So I'm honestly more excited for season 2 of The Haunting of Hill House. Well, I guess The Haunting of Bly Manor. But yeah, I'm really excited for that. I'm going to have to say this may be not a very popular opinion, but I didn't care for The Innocents that much. And it actually made me like The Haunting more because I think they're both very similar with the whole, is the woman crazy or is the house really haunted kind of theme. I just didn't think that the kids weren't that creepy. I just kept waiting for them to get like creepier and creepier and for it to get like pushed over the edge. And it just never got to that point for me. And I think The Haunting did that so much better. So I was a little let down by The Innocents. I actually do want to see this movie, though.
I love The Innocents quite a bit. And I agree, it is like The Haunting. They were kind of released, I think, around the same time. And a lot of the special effects are very similar, obviously, with the dark and the mansion. But like... They did some innovative stuff too, which I won't get into now because we don't have all day. But it's been a while since I've actually read The Turn of the Screw, and I don't know that I've ever read the play, but I don't know that the kids are necessarily like they're creepy. It's not a creepy kid movie, like it is, but like they are. Well, I don't want to say too much because they're spoilers, but I see your point. But we might have to talk about this off the air so that we can not spoil stuff for people. But I will definitely see this. If I might go to the theaters to see it, but I'll definitely see it streaming because I'll be curious probably. But I like the original.
Well, if anything, the trailer, which I accidentally saw, because I'm totally avoiding trailers for horror movies if I can.
Good for you.
The children in this movie did look really fucking creepy and evil. So that's why I guess when I was watching The Innocents, I kind of expected it to be more on that level. And so I was a little let down. Whatever. I mean, check out the Deborah Kerr classic, which I think, Mindy, you told me it was on Criterion now. So check out The Innocents and then maybe watch this movie just to compare.
Yeah, they have a version. It was streaming on Criterion. I don't know if it is now, but isn't that the preview where there's a spider involved?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I take that back. Maybe I won't see this one. We'll have to see. I'm not a fan of spiders, but anyway.
All right. What do you got next on the list?
Okay. So this next one is going to be interesting. It's called Color Out of Space. The release date is January 24th, 2020. It's a story of cosmic terror about the Gardeners, a family who moves to a remote farmstead in rural New England to escape the hustle of the 21st century, which, again, always a bad idea. Why do people always think they have to move to the country? This mysterious meteorite crashes into their front yard and seems to melt into the earth and then infects both the land and the properties of space and time with a strange, otherworldly color. But to their horror, the Gardner family discovers that the alien force is gradually mutating every life form that it touches, including them. Nick Cage is the star of this, and this is produced by the same producers who did Mandy, which I still haven't seen. I know I have to see it. But those producers include Elijah Wood and Richard Stanley, who directed and co-wrote the movie, asked Nicolas Cage to use the same style of performance he used in the movie Vampire's Kiss from 1988, which is apparently his favorite Nicolas Cage movie. It's also starring Tommy Chong. You heard me. This is adapted.
Sold.
Right? But also, it gets better. This is adapted from a short story by Lovecraft, and this actually premiered at TIFF in 2019. So some folks have already seen it, and I feel like I've heard buzz, but I avoid spoilers and trailers. Goes without saying that this is going to be promisingly weird. Personally, I love that Nick Cage is embracing his inner crazy as he ages, so I'm in totally.
Yeah, I'll go see it for Nick Cage and Tommy Chong alone. And also, I love Elijah Wood, and I think he makes some pretty interesting horror movies. I love his production company.
Yes.
All right.
Absolutely. Okay, cool. Sharon, what do you got for us?
All right, so next up, I have Gretel and Hansel. This movie is going to be released on January 31st. There's a lot of horror movies coming out this month. It's directed by Oz Perkins, who's actually the son of Anthony Perkins.
Okay, I was wondering.
And it stars Sophia Lillis, who is the girl that played the young Beverly Marsh in the new It movies. And I thought she was fantastic. So
I love her.
Yeah. So I expect like an absolutely great performance out of her. The little boy who plays Hansel hasn't really done anything, so we don't give a fuck about him. So
I was gonna say that, but then I held my tongue.
Just kidding. Anyway. So according to Oz Perkins in an interview, the title was changed because this version focuses on Gretel, who is older. Quote, "It's awfully faithful to the original story. It's got really only 3 principal characters, Hansel, Gretel, and the witch. We tried to find a way to make it more of a coming-of-age story. I wanted Gretel to be somewhat older than Hansel, so it didn't feel like 2 12-year-olds, rather a 16-year-old and an 8-year-old. There was more of a feeling like Gretel having to take Hansel around everywhere she goes and how that can impede one's own evolution. How our attachments and the things that we love can sometimes get in the way of our growth." I think we all basically know the story of Hansel and Gretel, so it sounds like this is going to be like that with him adding a little more depth to the characters and with a slightly different twist due to their ages. So yeah, I would check this one out because I kind of want to see what Sophia Lillis see her performance in this, because she's a really amazing young actress.
I have not seen her do anything bad. Like, I've not seen any bad performance of hers, because she was in Sharp Objects too on was that the one? Yeah, on HBO, the miniseries that was the adaptation of Gillian Flynn's book.
Oh, I have no idea.
It's really good.
I didn't
but
see that.
she was in that too, and she was a young Amy Adams, I think, in that. And she's like always fantastic.
Yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about now.
Also, I listened to what you said, but every time you would say Hansel, I just thought of, why are you acting so messed up towards me? Why are you acting so messed up towards me? Because of Zoolander. That's okay. I guess I know what else is a big...
Zoolander reference. The only thing I remember from Zoolander is
Owen Wilson is Hansel, and it's just crazy funny.
Yeah. No. I just remember when they were like going to get frappuccinos and they were driving around in the truck with the top down to Wake Me Up Before You Go.
I like that. That movie's very quotable.
It's literally the only thing I remember from that movie.
And has nothing to do with the Hansel and Gretel movie we're talking about now, except
Not
that
at all.
Hopefully now you all laugh anytime they say Hansel in the theater.
All right, Mindy?
All right, buckle up, everybody. My reaction to this next movie was Go Home, Hollywood, You're Drunk. Fantasy Island, apparently coming out on Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2020. In air quotes, a horror take on the classic TV series, directed by the guy who did Truth or Dare. To clarify, not the Madonna movie, the Blumhouse film from 2018.
Did not see that.
I did not either.
Although I've seen the Madonna one and I love it.
Well, unfortunately, that director is not directing this film.
Damn it.
And I had not heard great things about that other Truth or Dare. And this is a gamble, to say the least. Frankly, I'll be shocked if they pull this off successfully, because from what I was reading online, a lot like Cinema Blend and I think I went to Slate or something, and people are like, well, if they had a solid director, that would be one thing, because this can either be excellent or utterly crappy, and I just think it's probably gonna be utterly crappy, and just watch Lost, because about Crazy Island there. Michael Rooker from Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, and The Walking Dead is in this movie, as well as Lucy Hale, also from Truth or Dare, Scream 4, and Pretty Little Liars. The film is described as being a tonal mix of Westworld meets Cabin in the Woods, centering on a group of contest winners who arrive at an island hotel to live out their dreams, only to find themselves trapped in nightmare scenarios. Again, don't go to remote, odd places seeking your dreams, thinking everything's perfect, because why should it be?
I'm so curious about this movie.
I'm definitely curious. I just am kind of speechless, and I don't really know what to think. But again, this will be a drunken streaming one, probably, for sure, unless I'm convinced otherwise.
I'm just waiting for the horror movie remake of The Brady Bunch.
Right? No, seriously, like, is Green Acres next? Like, they're zombies now. Oh.
Well, actually, Green Acres, though, they're already like on a remote farm, so that might be...
And the zombie apocalypse happens, and Granny's still sitting that rocker on top of the truck.
Oh, you're thinking of Beverly Hillbillies.
Oh, crap. Well, they'll probably make that too, so...
Is that the next trend of horror versions of old comedy
Well,
TV shows?
they're running out of movies to remake, so I guess you start remaking TV shows.
Seriously. So it'll be interesting. This will either be a fun, colossal disaster to watch or maybe really fun and scary. But I'll definitely wait for streaming and will probably be a little intoxicated when I watch it. And I'm waiting for my mom's reaction to be like, wait, they're making a horror fantasy island? That'll be fun. Maybe I'll try and audio record it so we can include it on this podcast because I bet she'll scream. Anyway, Sharon, how about you talk about the next movie you've got on your list because I'm excited to hear you talk about it.
So I think we're both excited to see this movie.
I think we are.
It's The Lodge, which comes out on February 7th. It stars Riley Keough, a.k.a. Elvis Presley's granddaughter, also Alicia Silverstone, and Jaden Martell from the new It movies and also Knives Out, which I just saw Knives Out, and I actually really, really liked it. But anyways.
Yes, put a pin in that for after the recording.
So this is directed by Severin Fiala and Veronica Franz, both from Austria, who also co-directed and wrote the screenplay for Goodnight Mommy.
What?
Which, if you have not seen that, check that out. It's a fucked up psychological horror movie from Austria. This movie is a bone-chilling nightmare that follows a family who retreat to their, guess where? A remote winter cabin.
What the fuck is wrong with you people?
Over the holidays, and when the father is forced to abruptly depart for work,
Clearly,
he leaves his children in the care of his new girlfriend, Grace, played by Riley Keough. They are isolated and alone, and a blizzard traps them inside the lodge as terrifying events summon specters from Grace's dark past.
hell yes. I believe that Goodnight Mommy was one of, if not the first movie that these two made together. And I had posted about it for our 31 Movies of Halloween on Instagram. And while I know that Goodnight Mommy, some people find aspects of it problematic, overall, that movie knocked me off my ass. And like, I don't like torture movies, and that one, I don't really feel like that's a huge torture movie, but I've seen it like 5 times. I love that movie, and artistically, they're incredible, and so I cannot wait to see what they're going to do next.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one.
Because I think they're going to knock us on our ass again, and I'm scared, and I can't wait.
All right, Mindy, what do you have next?
Okay. Next, I have a movie called After Midnight. This already premiered at Tribeca last April 2019. The nationwide release date is also Valentine's Day, February 14th. That's according to Rotten Tomatoes. I also noticed, I feel like there's a lot of movies coming out on Valentine's Day, horror movies.
Coincidentally, the next movie I'm going to be talking about also comes out on Valentine's Day.
There's a trend. Actually, I kind of like that trend. When I was looking around, I saw that the full title was listed in one place as After Midnight and then in parentheses something else. And it's freshly rated on Rotten Tomatoes currently with a 100% fresh score. So that's kind of amazing since it hasn't been released yet. The basic premise is a small-time bar owner is stalked by a mysterious monster every night after his decade-long blissful relationship with his girlfriend disintegrates abruptly. She leaves him without notice because of his stubborn unwillingness to commit to marriage. Oh, women. For those of you last podcast on the left fans, shout out to them. But apparently Henry Zebrowski's in this because he was in the cast list on IMDb, so I can't wait.
I love him.
I saw the trailer. Yeah, he's in the trailer.
Oh my
too.
God,
Yeah.
I can't wait. It's total indie film. Comments from critics who've seen it include calling it phrases such as a rom monster com, which I think is one of my new favorite phrases. And if nothing else, it scored high for its originality. I am absolutely gonna see this for Henry, but it sounds like this is gonna be fun.
Yeah, it does sound fun, and I love Henry Zebrowski, so I will definitely be checking this out.
Maybe we can go on Valentine's Day.
Oh, will you be my date?
Yeah, sorry, Spencer.
Spencer, you stay home.
Yeah, I'll go sit in the back. I feel like Henry probably wouldn't attach himself to something that he didn't really think was going to be good or fun or something like that. So I have
Where are
kind of
your
high hopes.
shoes?
Oh my God, where are my shoes?
I just noticed that you're like not wearing.
No, I'm wearing those boots and they're kind of like tight and uncomfortable, so I took them off.
It's
Oh,
really
okay.
cold and snowy
The
and
weather
shitty in
is
Chicago right
really
now.
crappy today.
Yeah, it is.
I was like, that's a weird non sequitur, Sharon.
Sorry, I just like looked down because we're not at home, and I'm like, you have no shoes on.
I agree with what you said, Spencer, about Henry. To be fair, sometimes people need a paycheck, but since this is like a total indie film, I think it sounds like it's gonna. I have high hopes.
All right. So speaking of indie films,
Ooh.
my next movie is VFW, which also premiered at a film fest last year. It premiered at the Knoxville Horror Film Fest in October, but it's going to be released nationwide on Valentine's Day. It stars David Patrick Kelly, who
What?
plays Jerry Horn from Twin Peaks, and also like 100 other things. But obviously Twin Peaks is the most important thing he's ever done because I say so, and it's my podcast.
And I agree, and it's also my podcast.
So the basic plot is a group of war veterans must defend their local VFW post and also defend an innocent teenager against a deranged drug dealer and his relentless army of punk mutants. That sounds amazing.
That's Friday night, basically.
From what I've read, this movie is supposed to be very violent and gory. I'm kind of picturing Green Room mixed with maybe like
Planet Terror.
possibly.
I thought with the mutants. I just want to say that at first when I saw this on the list, I totally misread it and thought it was UHF. And I was like, they better not be remaking UHF.
As a horror movie.
Anyway, total non sequitur. But
That would be
continue.
funny. I would watch that though. I would watch a UHF remake if it was a horror movie.
You need to see UHF first, I think.
I've seen most of it. I've seen the best part. The blind guy with the Rubik's Cube. Is this it? Is this it?
Or what animal is it where he's like, today we are teaching monkeys how to fly.
Poodles or something. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's a funny movie, actually. I want to watch that right now, but we digress.
But anyways, I'll definitely be going to see this because I really like David Patrick Kelly, and I really like fucked up, violent, silly, ridiculous horror movies, and I don't care if it's good. I'll probably enjoy it.
And George Wendt.
Oh yeah, George Wendt's also in it.
And is this
Hometown boy, Chicago.
What? Is this listed as a horror comedy?
You know,
Because
I
it
don't.
sounds like it is for some reason. I get that. Because David Patrick Kelly, he's kind of a silly guy.
He is kind of a silly guy.
It says action horror.
I'm sure there's some funny moments, but
Yeah, this sounds interesting. I agree.
maybe we'll go see a double feature on Valentine's Day.
Or like a triple feature. Because, maybe there's more. Let's see. We should keep tabs. Awesome.
All right, so Mindy, tell us about your next movie.
Since we were talking about Elijah Wood, he got mentioned earlier, and I know you love him, Sharon. The next film I'm going to talk about, coincidentally, stars him. It's called Come to Daddy, which awesome.
Sounds like a porno.
Right? I was like, what is this? Release date February 21st, 2020. So they're given the Valentine's Day week off, and then they're going to release it after that.
Too much competition on Valentine's Day already.
Right? I know. That's so weird. Love is horrifying. I digress. This one already also has a whopping, actually 95% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which, again, holy crud. Elijah Wood stars as Norval, a dude who visits his estranged father of 30 years at his, wait for it, remote coastal cabin, as one does. Naturally, Dad's kind of a jerk with a shady past, and that past is coming back to bite both father and son in the ass. That's the basic idea from what I can tell. It looks like there's some cartoonish ultraviolence involved, and I mean, when done right, that's usually a fun time, I think. Wood's choices, as he's gotten older over the years, have gotten more and more interesting. And I just like to think that he's hopefully just like invested his Lord of the Rings money and can now take time to star in or fund like any damn artistic endeavor his little heart desires. He was producing Color Out of Space. He also was one of the producers that brought A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night to life here in the States. Which is an amazing movie if you've not seen it. So I'm definitely curious about it. Elijah also co-founded SpectreVision, which I actually didn't know he was the co-founder of that. But in case you guys don't know what SpectreVision is, it's an American film production company that was co-founded in 2010 along with Daniel Noah and Josh C. Waller, both of the producers of Mandy. SpectreVision focuses mostly on horror films. The company has produced, again, Mandy, and Cooties, which I haven't seen yet, but I think looks awesome. And then also Daniel Isn't Real, and those are just to name a few. So all around, this sounds interesting for sure.
Yeah, Daniel Isn't Real came out last year, and it was on our list of movies to
Yeah.
watch, but I didn't have time to watch it. But I've heard mostly good things about it, so I do kind of want to check that out. But also, I just love Elijah Wood so much. And what is that movie he made that was on? It was like a straight to Netflix horror movie, and it starred the girl from
I Don't Want to Live on This Planet Anymore.
Yes, that movie was so fucking good.
He was so good in that.
I don't feel at home in this world anymore.
I was close.
That was
Close
a good
enough.
one.
Melanie Linsky is the actress, though, you're talking about.
Yes, and I actually need to watch that again.
I think you texted me and you were like, you need to see this. I kind of feel like this is my life. And like the first 10 minutes is like, this is me having a shitty day. Like bought that movie hook, line, and sinker. And Elijah Wood is fantastic in it. They both are.
We need to have him on our show. My goal is to have Elijah Wood on our show and interview him.
I am loving the choices he's making. Like I'm
Seriously.
not seeing a lot of it, but the little bit that I've seen, like that one, and there was another one. Was it the one Henry, or there was another weird one where he played some creepy dude
Yes.
or something?
Well, he redid Maniac.
Yes.
That's what it was. And back to the movie that we're talking about, Come to Daddy. I did watch the trailer for this one, and it takes place in New Zealand. So right away, that's a thing to watch. And it looks pretty funny too, actually.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I agree, though. Even if it's a hit or a miss, like, I like that Elijah Wood is like, this seems interesting. Let's try it. And just like goes balls deep for it. And that's rad. So yeah, if nothing else, I'll see it just because I'll be curious. Also, way to go, Elijah Wood. Give us a call.
Call us.
All right, Sharon, what you got for us next? Is it UHF?
It is not UHF. It is Brahms, The Boy 2, which is in theaters February 21st. This sequel to the original, which the original, I enjoyed it. It was not bad. It wasn't great. It wasn't horrible. It was fine.
Yeah, I kind of felt that way, except that I had the twist of it spoiled for me long before I ever saw it. So I think had I not had that information, it would have been a different experience. But now I maybe have a second chance. What's this one about?
So this one stars Katie Holmes. It's directed by William Brent Bell, who directed the first one. The sequel is also written by the same writer as the original. After a family moves into the Heelshire mansion, which is the mansion from the original movie, the young son soon makes friends with a lifelike doll called Brahms. So it's got a creepy kid twist, kid talking to the dead or something. I don't know.
Well, dolls and kids are always, especially that kind of doll.
Kid like horror movies involving kids is creepy, and horror movies involving dolls is creepy. So yeah, when you combine those two things together, extra creepy, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, same mansion in England, same doll. Other than that, not much else is really known about the story. I'll probably watch it when it's like on Redbox or streaming or something. Definitely not going to go see this in the theater, but I'll check it out.
The first one was kind of a big hit, wasn't it? I don't remember.
I don't remember if it was
I thought.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I still really love Katie Holmes. I have a special place in my heart for her. And so even if it's a bad movie, but it's a movie that gets a lot of people to the theaters, I hope she gets a good paycheck because she deserves it. I also thought that maybe this movie was about the ghost of Brahms inhabiting the doll. And then your description just now proved me wrong. But I'm interested to see what that movie would look like.
I want to see a horror movie about Katie Holmes getting trapped into marriage with Tom Cruise and dealing with
Scientology.
Thank you. And dealing with Scientology and then escaping that marriage, because that actually seems horrifying.
Well, you can watch that, and then they'll come and hunt you down and kill you because they don't like people smearing them or just are distractors or any of that shit. So
No, they'll kill the people who try and make that movie. It won't even get made.
this is true. This is true. Although Katie Holmes got out alive, that was smooth the way she pulled that shit off.
I know, but that's a fucking horror movie right there. I want to see that horror movie.
Katie Holmes is a real official. She's the official real final girl.
All right, Mindy.
Okay, so the Untitled Saw Project, expected May 15th, 2020. I've only seen the first Saw film, and that was a really, really long time. So this is a reboot.
That was a really, really long time
ago. Sorry, in a galaxy far, far away. This is a reboot of the Saw, hopefully not franchise, but whatever. But it's by Chris Rock. Initially, my response was, of course it is, because we desperately need another Saw reboot. But with Croc... Oh.
Croc? That's his nickname. Croc.
Oh, sorry, Chris Rock. We love you.
Yeah, Chris Rock is too many syllables, so we just need to say Croc.
Well, with him working in front and behind the camera and then having co-stars like Samuel L. Jackson on board, this actually could be interesting, I think. Details are sort of under wraps, but I'm definitely going to keep an eye out for this. According to director Darren Bozeman, this movie will contain the biggest trap of any Saw movie, which think about what that means. It is also the biggest one ever built and will have arguably the most horrific death scene so far.
Interesting.
That's a lot of expectation to set right up front. This is also the 9th movie in the franchise. How have they made 9 Saw movies? But anyway, interesting is what I have to say about that.
I've only seen the original Saw, and then I saw Jigsaw,
which I heard was terrible.
It was okay. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of this Saw. I'm not a huge fan of either of those movies. Obviously, if I was, I would have watched the other 6 in between.
8, because this is gonna be the 9th.
Yeah, but the other 6 in between the 2 I saw.
Oh,
so
sorry.
That's okay.
Math is hard.
But no, I think it was Jigsaw that had a trap that involved like a grain silo.
Oh God.
So a grain silo is pretty fucking big. So if this is going to be bigger than a grain silo.
But they probably didn't build the grains. It was probably like a real one.
But still, they just said biggest trap in general. So if it's bigger than a grain silo,
that's big.
Fucking big. And also, I'll just go see it for Samuel L. Jackson in a horror movie directed by... Wait, you said it was directed by Chris Rock?
He's writing it.
Yeah,
and
I'll go
producing,
see it.
I believe, or co-writing it or something. But yeah, he's behind the camera and he's going to have a part in it. So those two, and then the biggest trap with the most horrific death scene so far in Saw. That is saying so much and such a huge expectation. I'd say, where's the popcorn? I'll watch just for that.
Yeah, and also I'm a huge fan of Croc, so.
Sorry, Chris Rock, we love you.
I'll go see it just for that.
I'm going to drink some more coffee while Sharon tells us about the next movie.
All right. This is another movie that is...
it's happening.
This is another movie that is happening. In fact, it's already been made. It comes out... Wait, I should tell you the name, right? The Invisible Man. Comes out February 28th, stars Elizabeth Moss from Handmaid's Tale and also from Scientology.
What?
Speaking of, she is trapped in a violent, controlling relationship with a wealthy and brilliant scientist. It should be a Scientologist.
I was going to say, is this the Katie Holmes movie that you were talking about?
This is, oh my God. That is really funny because we'll listen to the rest of it.
Yeah.
It could be. Cecilia, played by Moss, escapes in the dead of night and disappears into hiding, which kind of sounds like Sleeping with the Enemy. But when Cecilia's abusive ex commits suicide and leaves her a generous portion of his vast fortune, Cecilia suspects his death was a hoax. As a series of eerie coincidences turns lethal, threatening the lives of those she loves, Cecilia's sanity begins to unravel as she desperately tries to prove that she is being hunted by someone nobody can see. So before I started saying, like, fuck watching horror movie trailers, I did see the trailer for this, which pretty much gave away the entire plot.
Okay.
Which is why we need to avoid trailers.
Well, yes, and it sounds like you're doing a good job of that, Sharon. I'm proud of you.
But yeah, I almost feel like I don't need to see this movie because the trailer basically showed the whole fucking story. I'll wait until this comes out on Redbox or streaming to watch it because it didn't look too great, but it's really funny that this happened to be the next on the list. And it does kind of sound like the Katie Holmes
And I don't remember, again,
escape story.
I think I only saw The Invisible Man when I was like 6 because it was on TV and my parents were watching it. So I don't even remember the plot other than a guy tries to make him, somehow becomes invisible and then hijinks ensue. But this sounds darker, obviously.
Oh yeah, I don't think the original involved an abusive like husband or
it was in black
boyfriend.
and white. Not that being in black and white means they didn't smack their wives around, but like still.
Yeah.
But I do, Scientology aside, I do really like Elizabeth Moss.
Oh, I love her. I think she's a great actress.
She really is, and I know.
I don't like the fact that she's in this cult of Scientology, but whatever. I bet Tom Cruise does have enough money to make himself invisible. I bet he's figured out a way.
And we should probably stop talking about it because he's probably standing right behind you right now, and we don't even know.
All right. I mean, we love you, Tom Cruise.
Seems like a nice guy.
Hail L. Ron Hubbard.
We're never gonna make it out of the studio today.
All right, so we're gonna go from The Invisible Man to
Candyman, coming out June 12th, 2020. So y'all have a little time to spare and get ready. Jordan Peele is the co-writer along with Clive Barker, who wrote the original Candyman, and he's also the producer of this film, which is also directed by another female director. Hell yeah, Nia DaCosta. Loving all the up-and-coming female horror movie directors. Mm-hmm. Seriously, this is rad. Filmed in Chicago, like the original from 1992. For those of you who don't know, this actually is a remake, essentially. We'll get to that in a second. The 1992 film was about the Candyman, a former slave lynched for a relationship with a white woman. If you say his name 5 times in the mirror, he comes for you. The film spawned 2 sequels, but this is going to be a spiritual sequel to the 1992 horror film that returns to the now gentrified Chicago neighborhood where the legend began. That's part of the plot, but it's also true in real life, which is kind of interesting.
It's a modern twist on it. So is it really a remake or is it a reboot?
It's a spiritual sequel. So
okay.
There's more on that. Well, not more, but
continue.
Thank you. Blah 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 blah. According to a Deadline.com article, quote, Peele wants to address how toxic fandom has become. Monkey Paw's creative director Ian Cooper said in an Deadline.com interview, quote, we talk a lot about fans and the idea of appeasing fans. And when do you do that? How do you do that? And when do you not do that? I think my issue with fandom is that it's really problematic. It's probably the most problematic thing facing the genre. And this is me, Melinda, speaking. I would actually probably agree with that. To go on with his quote, what we're doing with Candyman and how Jordan is crafting it on the page is going to be very exciting and rewarding to audiences that haven't seen the original film, as well as people who have seen the original film. In a broad sense of the word, this film will stand alone if you've never heard of a film called Candyman and will dovetail in a pretty complicated and interesting way to the original. It's something Jordan has been talking to me about for many years, and it's gone through iterations that are so high concept, they're basically a Gus Van Sant film. They've gone through many iterations, let's just say, end quote. In short, he thinks this will really fit in with what their company has been doing with Get Out and the film Us in a way that will be circuitous. Oh, what I did want to add that actor Tony Todd will actually be reprising his role as the Candyman. And what I think is really interesting about this, I'm actually kind of psyched because the plot clearly is art imitating life. The original film was filmed in, if you're not from Chicago, a housing complex for low-income folks that no longer exists, but particularly African American low income folks. So having said all of that, I am psyched. I think Jordan Peele can do no wrong, personally. He's also not human, I think, because he's so freaking talented from comedy to horror to everything. But I am psyched about this premise. When I heard that Tony Todd was returning and like the whole Cabrini, like they're talking about what really happened in Cabrini Green with the gentrification, I'm in, man. I can't wait. I don't remember much of the original Candyman movie, but it sounds like you don't really have to know it. So
I remember that scared the shit out of me when I watched it in high school.
yeah, it did scare me too. I think I watched it at our friend Megan's house, and I have a thing about bugs, and I don't want to give away any spoilers, but yeah, it's a creepy movie. I never saw any of the sequels, but I'll see this for surezies.
Yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to this, and I'm thinking he was being a little tongue-in-cheek when he said that this is basically a Gus Van Sant movie.
I had a hard time even reading that because that made me laugh.
But that's actually really funny.
I just said that made me laugh. Sharon and I don't speak English all that well.
I understood what you meant.
Thank you.
But I love Gus Van Sant, so
in a way, it's like I'm in either way.
very curious to see if he was being facetious or somewhat literal with that reference. But yeah, Jordan Peele, I'm so excited, and I'm really excited to see what he's going to do. And
Jordan Peele with Clive Barker.
oh yeah,
what? Like this
Amazing.
might be. We might all need like tons of therapy after this. This might be super scary because Clive Barker, he writes a good scary tale. So
we will
bring
be
it,
there.
Candyman. I want to see that. I'm excited about this. I can't wait, and I actually do think I want to see this in the theaters.
For sure.
Yeah.
When does it come out
absolutely.
again?
I was scrolling, and now I had scrolled past it. June 12th. So we've got some time to plan, and we'll make a candy party.
Okay. Anyways.
All right. So moving on. Sharon, what's happening on your end of the world of the table? What new movies are you going to talk about next?
All right. So the next movie I have is Extraordinary. It's going to be released on March 6th. And it was released pretty much everywhere else in the world last year. We're a little behind here, I guess. But it did debut at South by Southwest in March of 2019. So the film stars Maeve Higgins, an Irish comedian and podcaster. What up, fellow podcaster? She's also an author whose her latest book is called Maeve in America. It also stars Will Forte and Claudia Doherty, who I don't know if you know who she is, Mindy, but she's a fucking hilarious actress and comedian. She's on the TV show Love, and she's from the movie Trainwreck and Long Shot.
Awesome.
Rose, who's played by Maeve Higgins, is a mostly sweet and lonely Irish driving instructor who must use her supernatural talents to save the daughter of a man named Martin from a washed-up rock star played by Forte, who has made a pact with the devil to regain his stardom.
I feel like I don't know what just happened in the past. Like that, all of that was very wow. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Interesting.
An Irish driving instructor with supernatural talents who has to save some random guy's daughter from Will Forte, who has made a pact with the devil to regain his stardom. And I don't know, he's going to sacrifice the daughter, or I don't know what he's going to do with her. But yeah, it sounds like a horror comedy that, you know, has a good cast and an interesting plot. So, something that I definitely think I would check out.
Yeah, IMDb does say it's a comedy, fantasy, horror, and I think I may have seen the trailer for it, and it looked weird and odd and funny and kind of creepy.
Well, I won't see the trailer for it, but I might decide to watch it.
Yeah, cool. All right. Minnie, what is next on your list?
I got a Purge.
You got a Purge?
Well, I'm not sure what the title is yet, but there's going to be another
man.
spew into this.
That is a...
Oh, don't say it. If you don't know it, Google it.
There's
Come on.
maybe some younger folks out there who have never seen or heard of Wayne's World. I don't know.
They can Google it. don't have to explain our references. Let's assume that our audience is smarter than that and they know how to use Google.
All right.
Anyway, that was all my horrible attempt of trying to say that there's going to be another Purge sequel. It's literally called Untitled Purge sequel right now when I tried to find info on it. It comes out July 10th. Full confession, I have not seen these movies at all. But I guess it's that time again. Everybody be getting their crime on for one night only. Apparently, this might be the last Purge, according to the creator. In other news, holy shit, how are there 5 Purge movies out there?
You got to catch up.
Well, I'm not going to hold my breath. But there'll be another one in July. So if you're looking to get out of the heat and sit in a cool movie theater, go watch that movie and commit crime. Maybe not the last part, but I hope
Definitely not the last part.
Anyway, I'm not very interested in this movie. I don't know if you have any thoughts, Sharon, but 'cause you've seen those movies, right?
No, I've seen the first one, and I fucking okay, here's my thing with the Purge, the whole concept of it. It is something I actually think might happen one day. So the movie terrified me. The whole concept of the movie terrifies me because human monsters are the worst monsters. And the fact that the government would let something like that happen, honestly, at this point in time, doesn't seem that far out of reach for me. I couldn't bring myself to watch any of the other ones. Kind of the same way you feel about like torture films, Mindy, or home invasion movies. Those to me are like the most terrifying things because they're so realistic. Yeah. I have, however, heard very good things about the TV show, which I might check out, but I'm not down with any of the movies. I don't think I'll see this. Honestly, I don't think I'll even see it for our end of the movie wrap up unless I hear like completely amazing things about it.
Also,
which I'm not expecting.
I forgot to mention that. Oh yeah, there's a TV show too.
But honestly, I've heard really good things about the TV show.
I have too, but like I agree with you completely, which is why I've never seen these because I was like, this is a little too close to reality. I feel like, and I don't want to know what would happen because,
for sure.
Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to go hide in my 3rd floor apartment with my cat and tons of wine and never leave again.
Yeah, you wouldn't be safe.
I don't think I'd do well in the Purge. Or maybe I'd be great. Who knows? But anyway, go see that in July.
I want to see Mindy wielding like an axe or chainsaw or something.
And a bottle of wine on the other hand.
Well, the last Purge movie I actually did see. I didn't see the second and third ones, but I did go see the first Purge from 2018.
You went to see it?
I did, yeah. Because it looked kind of like an interesting idea. And because it's the very first time it's the story about how it gets created, how it gets started.
How did I miss that you saw a horror movie without me? Usually I have to make you watch every horror movie you watch.
That's why I was like, you went to see it?
I thought you were sitting there next to me.
All right, so how was it?
It was fine. It wasn't terrible, it wasn't amazing, but it deals a lot with race and politics, and I thought it was kind of an interesting story. It only has a 5.1 on IMDb, so take that with a grain of salt.
Horror movies never have great ratings.
Yeah,
that really
exactly.
has nothing to
I
do
don't
with
trust anything, but I didn't hate it. I thought it was kind of enjoyable. I'm also not the best one. I'm not a good critic on movies. I sort of like almost everything.
That is true.
But yeah.
I have so many questions, but I'll ask you later about it since it's a prequel.
I probably won't remember. That's
all right, but our listeners probably don't want to hear them anyway. So let's get off of purging, and Sharon, what do you have to talk about next?
All right, so this is gonna be the last movie for our part 1 episode. It's Saint Maud, which again I accidentally saw the trailer for. What did we go see? We went to go see a non-horror movie.
Was it Knives Out?
It might have been Knives Out, and they played this, and I was like, shit. So I either just like sit there with my eyes closed the whole time or like walk out of the theater right now because I wasn't really expecting horror movie trailers during Knives Out. And it did look pretty good.
Okay.
So, and it honestly, the trailer didn't give too much away.
There you go.
So I'm glad about that. So this is in theaters March 27th. It's directed by another female director.
What up?
Rose Glass. I looked at her credits and all I could see that she's done so far are shorts. So this is actually her first feature-length film.
Rad.
I don't know who any of the actors are. They're all basically new up and coming stars. Maybe. So this movie comes from the UK. It's about Maud, who is a reclusive young nurse whose impressionable demeanor causes her to pursue a pious path of Christian devotion after an obscure trauma. Now charged with the hospice care of Amanda, who is a retired dancer ravaged by cancer, Maud's fervent faith quickly inspires an obsessive conviction that she must save her ward's soul from eternal damnation, whatever the cost. So I read a review written by the Toronto International Film Festival, which states, quote, well-placed nods are made to religious horror forerunners like William Friedkin's The Exorcist, further contributing to the film's increasingly dread-filled malaise.
Ooh.
And when this insidious fever climactically breaks, the consequences are devastating and terrifying in equal measure. So that's like kind of cool that they're,
That's kind of my jam, actually. I love movies like that.
yeah, if they're, making a comparison to The Exorcist, that's a great compliment. In another Toronto film review, it said, Maud is like Carrie White and her mother rolled into one unholy, holy terror.
Holy shit.
Holy shit. So so Carrie and The Exorcist nods to both those films. So
interesting.
And I've heard the woman who plays Maud is amazing in this movie.
Huh.
So I definitely think I'll be checking this out. Whether or not I see it in the theaters, we'll see. But
I agree. I'm in it. I want to see this.
let's do it. All right. So that's going to wrap up part 1 of our 2020 horror movie breakdown.
Preview breakdown.
And we will be back next week with part 2. And we would also like to thank everyone for listening and supporting us. Also, if you are a listener, we would really appreciate it if you could take the time to rate and review us on iTunes or whatever platform that you listen to us on. This really helps support us and get us more listeners. We love doing this and we do want to keep growing. So please, please, please go rate our show if you have the time. Also, please send us any of your ghost stories, scary stories, or let us know whatever else you would like to hear us talk about.
And thank you to those of you who have written ratings and really lovely comments. Honestly, we were shocked that they weren't written by our friends. We were like, oh my God, we don't know these people and they're writing this. So thank you. We love you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. And if you have any stories that you would like to share with us, you can email us at whorestalkhorror@gmail.com. Also, follow us on all the social medias. And as always, thanks for getting creepy with us. Sharon, do you want a beer?
Oh my God.